Captions are those of the auditor.
Oh, my name is Drew.
Nice to meet you.
I'm known to you guys.
Yes.
I'm not trying to be a dick to you.
Okay, well, you're absolutely being a dick.
The office appears to be either a voting machine or maybe a DMV where they have these booths, as you can see in Windows, where you transmit your personal information. So the camera, which has zoom lenses, does represent a risk for personal data. And one of the way the auditors try to get you off your game if you're a police officer is they start quoting laws. They'll throw out numbers, U.S. code, there's state codes, local code. And don't let this throw you off your game. You have to know what you're going to do. You have to say what you're going to do and then do it.
So you're violating my constitutional right under the color of law. Title 18, I believe it's USC 242, 241 is conspiracy. That's the criminal violation you're making right now. Title 42 USC, is it 1395? That's the civil violation you're making right now. Do you want to continue with that? I will leave at your direction.
Yes, leave.
Okay, thank you. So there was, to be clear, there was no reasonable articulable suspicion of any crime, correct?
You can't be in there filming other people's information.
What is the reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime?
I'm
What
not
NRS or
taking-
NAC?
I tell you what, if you have an issue, you can call my supervisor and talk to him.
I will.
Don't go back in the building.
No,
You understand?
it's your order. I'm not going to violate your
We're
order.
done. Let's go.
But the cop doesn't leave, and the auditor draws him back into a lengthy conversation. If any police are watching this, remember, the more you talk and answer questions, the more likely you are to step on a landmine.
Go back in the building.
No,
You understand?
it's your order. I'm not going to violate your
We're
order.
done. Let's go.
But see, with what he did, violating my constitutional rights, you just did it too because you helped him. So that's Title 18 USC 241, conspiracy. Under the law, you have an obligation to uphold my constitutional
Are we
rights.
going to continue walking?
You can walk. I'm talking. I'm exercising my First Amendment right, unless you want to arrest me for that too.
What was his first name? What was your first name again?
Oh, my name is Drew.
Nice to meet you.
I'm known to you guys.
Yes.
I'm not trying to be a dick to you.
Okay, well, you're absolutely being a dick.
How?
Right? Because the supervisor in there has asked you to leave multiple times. You're disrupting, you're upsetting the people that are in there for the reasons that this building is here, and you're in there just to cause a scene. So we're not going to cause a scene anymore. That's
No,
the end of it.
I'm in there to gather information.
You're not in there
I'm
to
in-
gather information.
I'm not.
You're in there to cause a commotion.
So under the First Amendment, freedom of the press.
Are you a member of the press?
Absolutely. You are too.
Who do you work for?
You. Wow. So let me ask you some questions here.
I'm not going to answer any more of your questions.
Well, no.
And this auditor is really good. First, he gets the cop to re-engage after the police officer said, "Let's go." And now he gets the cop to answer more questions after the cop says, "I'm not going to answer any more questions."
Wow. So let me ask you some questions here.
I'm not going to answer any more of your questions.
Well, no. The questions
Don't go
are
back into the
are
building.
nothing to do with that. But under the law, you're a member of the press. I'm a member of the press. Anybody publishing what they're
What are
observing,
you publishing?
whether by print,
What are you publishing?
obviously a video.
You're in there filming other people, collecting their information. That's not
Well,
public
well,
information.
you just said something. Collecting information. What information did I collect? You just levied
I don't know.
you levied an accusation. So if you didn't see me collect any information,
The supervisor relayed that to me.
Well,
So I'm acting
well-
on her information.
okay, so that's hearsay.
Okay.
I'm the guy.
Whatever, man.
Remember, I'm
Don't go back into the building. How about
you're documenting with your camera. Are your cameras on, by the way?
that? No, they're not.
Would you please turn them on?
No.
So is it your policy to turn the cameras on?
Do you know what my policy is?
Now, here's another great auditor trick that cops fall for. They'll quote your policy. Is it your policy to identify yourself and give your name and badge number out loud? Is it your policy to have your camera on? First of all, you must, if you're in law enforcement, know the difference between a policy, a guideline, a regulation, and a law. It could be your policy to have your camera on, but there might be contingencies on that. You do not have to answer questions from a citizen unless they're legitimate questions. At this point, if I'm the supervisor or this police officer, My advice would be just, you've already said, let's go. You told him what you want him to do. You told him what would happen if he didn't do it. Leave.
Thank you. So we're going to leave now. If you go back in, we'll get called back, and you'll be probably put under arrest for trespassing.
Okay. Well, so here's what I would recommend you guys do. You should probably call a supervisor for this then. Yeah, why don't you call the supervisor? Let's talk to a sergeant.
Why don't you call?
So you're refusing to call us. You're refusing to call a supervisor. You threaten me with arrest if I go back inside the building. Again, what is your reasonable, articulable suspicion of a crime? What NRS,
I don't know. We'll call it disturbing the peace. You can film me all you want. They're worried about it. They don't want you filming them.
They're worried about a
camera.
camera.
I've asked you to leave the building, and you're refusing to do so.
In a public space, you can't do this.
Okay.
It's a criminal act. You're violating the Constitution. You're violating my rights.
Okay.
You're violating my rights.
What about their rights?
Well, what rights? What rights?
Privacy?
Okay. What has the court said?
I don't know. You tell me. You're the lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I just read a lot of laws.
Let me ask you a question.
So what has the court said about a right to privacy in public?
What's your goal to go in here and film everybody?
My goal is to highlight the state of Nevada and the incompetency of their law enforcement.
Okay, so your entire goal was to come down here to cause a scene so that we would show up.
No. Did you take an oath to uphold the Constitution?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No.
This is going to play back great on video.
Frustration caused that police officer to say, I don't remember. Now the auditor has a tremendous soundbite. And the auditor's almost giddy as he approaches the second police officer and tries to get him to say something out of frustration, but he doesn't.
Did you take an oath?
Would you like to talk to the supervisor?
No, hang on just one moment. Did you take an oath to uphold the Constitution?
Would you like to talk to the supervisor?
Did you take an oath to uphold the
Would
Constitution?
you like to talk to the supervisor?
I'll talk to her when you answer my question.
I'll talk to you when you answer my question.
I'm going to talk to her momentarily. Did you take an oath to uphold the
I'll talk to you
Constitution?
momentarily once you answer my question.
I just did. I'll talk to her in a minute.
And I just answered your question.
So you didn't take an oath to uphold the Constitution?
You're putting words into my mouth.
And now, for some strange reason, we revisit the legal Sudoko numbers game. The trap that most cops are falling in with these First Amendment auditors is they're engaging them way too long.
And I've asked these gentlemen, this is the interesting thing for you, and you go home and talk to your husband about this because we had a good conversation. So what NRS, NAC are you enforcing and trespassing me from the building for? 207.200. I believe what's that one? Disturbing the peace?
I don't know. You tell me, man.
Well, no, you're citing one that I don't know. The only one I can cite is 200.197. What articulable actions did I take that violated that law?
I don't know. I don't have to be there to watch them.
So
I just have to go up to a building where somebody says they don't want you here anymore.
So
and you don't get to be here anymore.
Now, this may be off topic some, but we've all been there. Look at the cop on the left. You can almost read his mind. I should have gone to law school. Now, I can always claim temporary insanity if I punch this guy in the mouth. Or how did we get into this? And more importantly, how do we get out of this? Two police officers from the Reno Police Department show up, and the auditor wants to make his appeal directly to them. It's the wrong two guys to do this with. Finally, we have law enforcement here.
Okay, so a guy with nothing on him, it takes 4 cops to show up for a guy that's standing back, being pretty darn calm, and just filming things and articulating to you that I want you to uphold my constitutional rights. And I asked you a question. Here, maybe the Reno guys. Hey,
Do you have your ID on you?
do you have a reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime that I have committed?
I've asked you to leave and you're not leaving.
What crime did
Trespassing.
What crime did I commit to be trespassed?
You're on their property.
What crime did I commit to be trespassed?
You're on their property and they've asked you to leave.
Okay.
You're trespassing.
Okay, so
You're remaining on property after you've been asked to leave it.
Okay, but under the law again, let's go to law. What crime did I commit?
I just told you it's trespass.
No, you have to have a crime to trespass me from public property.
No, if you go on somebody's property,
That's private
and
property.
you remain there after being told to leave,
That's
you are trespassing.
private property.
Bingo! The Reno police officer. God bless you. You're on somebody's property. They ask you to leave. You don't leave. Trespassing. End of story. Book 'em, Dano. If you watch my show, I promise you some surprises. I'll expose some scammers on the air and out some corrupt public officials. Take a look at the John Ligato Show. Subscribe. Semper Fidelis.